look over Maastricht as the king of the castle.
And that's it.
The king of the waltz?
No, the king of the waltz, yeah.
So as I was saying before, congratulations, of course, you've broken into the UK market, but already you're a global star.
After decades of spreading joy across the globe with his music, André Rieu, the world-renowned violinist and conductor, faced an unexpected and heartbreaking turn in his life. A tragic diagnosis shook his family to the core, bringing a sense of uncertainty and fear into the hearts of millions of his fans. In a deeply emotional moment, André's son stepped forward to share this painful news, revealing a chapter in his father's life that had been kept hidden from the public eye. As the reality of the situation began to unfold, the world collectively held its breath, wondering what this would mean for the beloved maestro's future. Could he survive this? The answers lay in the unfolding of the true story behind André Rieu's life and career, a journey that continues to be filled with both triumph and struggle. Born into a musical family, André Rieu was the third of 6 children. His father, Andreas Antony Rieu, was the conductor of the Maastricht Symphony Orchestra, and music was an ever-present force in their household. From an early age, André was drawn to music, and by just 5 years old, he began learning the violin. It quickly became his passion, although he later reflected that his parents, especially his father, had been somewhat strict in their approach to his musical upbringing. Despite this, André's talent for music grew, and he showed a natural flair for the violin that would become his lifelong companion. André's formal education in music began at the Conservatoire Royal in Liège, where he studied between 1968 and 1973. His studies continued at the Conservatorium Maastricht, where he learned from respected musicians like Joe Judah and Herman Krebs. However, it was at the Brussels Music Academy, where he studied from 1974 to 1977 under Andre Gertler, that he truly began to shine. André graduated with high honors and was awarded the prestigious Premier Prix from the Royal Conservatory of Brussels in 1975, marking a significant milestone in his musical journey. In 1975, André married Marjorie Coman, a language teacher and music writer. Their shared love for creativity and the arts brought them even closer together, and they soon had 2 sons. One of their sons, Pierre, became heavily involved in his father's career, collaborating with the Johann Strauss Orchestra as a producer. Over the years, André also became fluent in 6 languages: Dutch, English, German, French, Italian, and Spanish, allowing him to connect with fans and musicians across the world, further cementing his international appeal. As his career blossomed, André and his family eventually settled in a beautiful castle in Maastricht, which he believed had once been the home of the legendary Charles de Boot's Castilmour, or D'Artagnan. The castle's historical significance and elegance perfectly aligned with André's passion for the past, making it the ideal setting for him to further his musical pursuits. In 1987, André founded the Johann Strauss Orchestra with just 12 musicians. Their first performance took place on January 1, 1988, and the orchestra has since grown to include around 60 members. André gradually moved away from his father's more serious, traditional musical style, opting instead to create performances that were joyful, accessible, and filled with energy, much to the delight of his audiences. André's violin of choice is a stunning Stradivarius from 1667, a beautiful instrument that has been part of his signature sound. Along with his orchestra, André has toured extensively across Europe, the Americas, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. One of their most remarkable tours took place in 2008, when they created a full-scale replica of Empress Sisi's castle, producing one of the largest traveling stages ever seen. By 2016, his immense success had propelled his estimated net worth to an impressive $25 million, a testament to his incredible impact on the world of music. For years, André Rieu has been a beacon of joy for millions around the world. His unforgettable violin playing, grand performances, and emotional connection with his audience have made him a beloved figure in classical music. As the leader of the Johann Strauss Orchestra, André has brought together fans from all generations, making each concert feel like a joyous celebration of life. However, behind the magical performances, there's another side to André's story that many people may not know. For much of his career, Andre was known for his remarkable ability to continue performing regardless of his health. He rarely missed a concert, and he often boasted that jet lag never affected him, despite his constant travel to distant countries. His unwavering commitment to his art and his fans made him a symbol of resilience. But even someone as strong as Andre is not immune to the toll that years of performing, traveling, and pushing his body can take. Behind the bright lights and standing ovations, Andre began to experience the physical and emotional strains of his demanding career. Despite his earlier belief that he could power through anything, this new diagnosis served as a stark reminder that life and health are fragile. The question on everyone's mind remains, what will this mean for the future of the maestro and his beloved orchestra? Only time will tell, but one thing is for certain. André Rieu's music has already left an indelible mark on the hearts of millions, and whatever the future holds, his legacy will continue to resonate through the magic of his music. He worked tirelessly, often pushing himself to the limit without taking a break. But everything changed one quiet night during a vacation in Belgium in 2010. It was a time when everything almost came crashing down due to a sudden and unexpected health issue. Out of nowhere, he woke up in the middle of the night, hit by an overwhelming wave of dizziness. The whole room spun around him, and nothing made sense. The next day he felt weak and off, as if something inside him had broken. Looking back, it was clear that his schedule had become too intense. He'd been working non-stop, rushing to finish a DVD production, while also cramming in Spanish lessons for upcoming concerts in Mexico. His days were packed with pressure, leaving him no time to rest and recharge. He'd always believed that his love for music and his strong will could protect him from illness, but now he was forced to rethink that. After visiting several doctors, he was diagnosed with a vestibular nerve infection. This condition affects the inner ear and can seriously mess with one's sense of balance. Even a simple cold can trigger it. For Andre, it meant he couldn't stand or move without feeling dizzy and nauseous. He had to face the fact that this was no small issue. It was serious. As a result, entire tours had to be canceled, including ones in Australia and the UK. For someone who lived to perform and carried the financial responsibility of a large orchestra and staff, this was a major setback. Being told to rest for 6 months seemed almost impossible to him. He even had to undergo a brain scan to rule out other serious problems, like a tumor. Thankfully, the scan showed no signs of anything more severe, but the whole experience was deeply frightening. During his recovery, fans from all over the world sent their support. One fan from Australia even sent him a letter with advice on special balance exercises. These included walking in figure eights, moving his eyes in specific ways, and standing on one foot with his eyes closed. He took this advice seriously, doing the exercises every day. After 3 months, he finally started to feel better, slowly but surely regaining his strength. This tough period also led him to reflect deeply on his lifestyle. He realized he'd been living in extremes, either giving everything or doing absolutely nothing. There was no middle ground. He saw that much of what filled his days had nothing to do with music. He'd taken on extra tasks like opening businesses, giving lectures, and doing admin work, all things that were draining him. So he made 2 lists, one of things he truly loved and one of things that drained him. The first list was short and focused on music. The second list was much longer. He decided to remove the second list from his life. Since then, he's changed the way he lives. He's made joy, peace, and health his priorities, knowing that stress could trigger his illness again. He's focused on what makes him happy, pouring his energy into music and the people he cares about. However, now, after many peaceful years, troubling news has emerged once again. His son recently shared that Andre is facing a serious health challenge once more. This news has stirred concern among his fans, bringing back memories of that painful time when he had to step away from the stage due to the physical toll of constant performing. Despite all this, everything was carefully planned. Every detail had been thought out with love and care, and Andre was finally returning to Mexico after 6 long years. Fans across the country were buzzing with excitement, many of them having waited years to see him perform again. This tour was their long-awaited moment. The concerts sold out in no time, and the excitement was electric. When the first two performances in Mexico City took place, everything seemed perfect. Beautiful music, an amazing atmosphere, and fans thrilled to have him back. But that joy didn't last long. Less than a day after the second concert, things took a sudden and terrible turn. Andre became seriously sick. At first, it seemed like simple fatigue or discomfort after the show, but it quickly became clear that it was far worse than that. He had caught a nasty flu. His fever spiked, and he was completely drained. His body just couldn't keep up. The tour had to be canceled, and the news hit like a punch. It was heartbreaking for the fans, especially those who had waited years to see him live. But the impact went beyond the fans. It deeply affected the whole team behind the tour. Andre's son, Pierre, later shared what had truly happened. He said that the challenges began the moment they arrived. Long flights to Mexico, a huge time difference, and the high altitude of Mexico City all worked against Andre. At 74, these things became much harder to handle. What started as a little fatigue and stress quickly snowballed into something much worse. He only had one short day to rest before his first performance, and that simply wasn't enough time for his body to recover. Andre's health took a serious hit, and something had to be done fast. With no other option, Pierre and the team made the tough call to cancel the remaining concerts and fly him home immediately. It wasn't an easy decision, but Andre's health had to come first. The disappointment was overwhelming. Fans were upset, of course, but the team felt it too. Months of hard work had gone into the planning of the tour, and suddenly it was all over. The heartbreak wasn't just on stage, it was behind the scenes too. Everyone had worked so hard, and it was crushing to see it end like that. While the exact details of his condition weren't fully shared, there was a growing sense of fear and sadness. After all he'd overcome, people could only hope that his strength and passion would carry him through this once again. Andre's illness lasted for several days, leaving him barely able to move. With no energy at all, fans and the team alike were worried, hoping for a quick recovery. After almost a week, he began to feel better, but the experience left a lasting impact. It was a wake-up call for everyone, especially Pierre, who realized that changes had to be made. He said they wouldn't return to Mexico for another tour until at least 2025, and when they did, it would have to be done differently. More time to rest, better planning, and a slower pace. At 74, Andre's age made a huge difference. Long flights and packed schedules were harder to handle. The body doesn't bounce back like it used to, and Pierre admitted that traveling around the world just wasn't the same. Even places like Australia now felt too far away. High temperatures and constant travel had taken their toll. Before he got really sick, during the second concert in Mexico City, Andre had already felt something was off. He told his wife that he didn't think he could keep up with this kind of tour anymore. He had pushed himself too hard, and now his body was sending a very clear message. This time, he had to listen. Pushing through wasn't an option anymore. If he wanted to keep sharing his music with the world, he had to rest when needed, take breaks, and slow down. But it wasn't just Andre who struggled during the tour. The high altitude of Mexico City had an effect on the whole crew. The city sits more than 2,000 meters above sea level, and the thinner air made it harder to breathe. Even the simplest tasks became more tiring. Donna Alberti, one of the main singers traveling with Andre since January, felt the effects of the high altitude clearly. During one performance, she had to stop and drink water just to finish the song. Nosebleeds and flushed faces became regular occurrences among the team. They were all struggling, even if they tried to laugh it off. Pierre later said that deciding to cancel the rest of the tour was painful, but absolutely necessary. If Andre had continued performing, he might have collapsed on stage, which would have been far worse. In the end, around 40,000 fans were turned away, and a team of 125 people had to pack up early and fly home. The decision created a huge ripple of problems. Flights had to be rearranged, merchandise sales were lost, and the team wasn't even insured for this kind of situation. For the performers, it was a sudden shift. Emma Koch, another singer in the group, went from performing in front of 10,000 people to hearing the tour was over just a day later. Even while walking through the streets of Mexico City, fans still approached asking for photos, not knowing that it might be the last time they'd see André Rieu perform there. Outside the concert venue, the atmosphere had been nothing short of magical. Crowds gathered not just for the show, but for the entire experience. The sidewalks turned into mini-markets, selling all kinds of unofficial merchandise, mugs, teddy bears, and t-shirts with André's face printed on them. During the concerts, fans chanted his name over and over. Even when he tried to end the show, they begged him to continue. The love and energy were unforgettable, but behind the music, the signs were already there. André had been smiling and enjoying the moment, but inside, he felt something breaking down. Back in Maastricht, resting at home, he focused on his recovery. Pierre remained hopeful for their next concert in Liverpool, but there was a strong chance that Mexico had seen the last of André Rieu on stage. His earlier wish to stay healthy so he could continue doing what he loved now took on a much deeper meaning. This wasn't the first time his team had faced the stress of André's packed schedule, but this time, it was more serious than ever. The music had to pause, because the man behind it all needed to recover. The show would go on, but only when André was ready again. After just 2 shows in Mexico, André had to make the sudden and difficult decision to cancel the rest of his tour and fly back home to Maastricht. It wasn't a choice he wanted to make, but his body left him no choice. The sudden illness hit him hard, and for the first time in a long while, he realized he might need to slow down. That realization didn't come easily. He had always dreamed of performing non-stop right up to the very end of his life. But this time, everything became too much, even for someone as strong and determined as him. Once home, where he lives quietly with his wife Marjorie, it became clear that rescheduling or making up for the missed concerts just wasn't possible. The idea of pushing himself any further was simply off the table. He didn't have the energy anymore. Although André doesn't usually talk about his health, his son Pierre, who also acts as his spokesperson, explained what had happened. He said that several factors affected his father's condition. Despite André always taking care of himself with regular exercise, tennis, jogging, and healthy eating, he had to face the reality of aging. He had always been proud of his stamina and energy, but this time, something was different. His legs trembled, and he feared he might collapse on stage. That fear was real, and it led to the rare decision to cancel the rest of the tour, a choice he had never made before. In the past, he had performed through fevers or minor illnesses, always powering through, but this time his body refused to cooperate. Though he eventually recovered, it was a wake-up call for everyone around him. The illness led to the cancellation of 4 concerts, leaving many fans deeply disappointed. People had traveled long distances, eagerly awaiting a chance to see André live, and now those plans were dashed. Ticket holders were promised refunds, but there were no immediate plans to reschedule. André reportedly told his team that he no longer wanted to put himself through such physical strain again. The long flights, drastic time changes, and overall exhaustion of touring were taking their toll. Traveling to distant locations like Mexico and Australia was no longer something he could take for granted. Despite some concerts still being scheduled in countries like Chile, Argentina, and Colombia, André's team started to reconsider their approach. They began looking at the calendar in a new way. From now on, they would take it 1 year at a time. No more rushing into long tours. André's health had to come first, and they needed to focus on what truly mattered. Of course, even though international shows would become less frequent, fans could still come to see him in Maastricht. Every summer, he holds his beloved concerts in the city's Vrijthof Square, which are famous for their magical atmosphere. Many fans believe these shows are the best performances he gives. There's something uniquely special about playing in his hometown. The familiar surroundings, the close connection with the audience, and the gentle rhythm of life in Maastricht made it easier for him to focus on his music. However, giving up international performances wasn't easy for André. His love for music runs deep, and during his illness, he realized just how much he needed his work. Staying home made him restless. The thought of not being able to perform was almost unbearable. To make things easier, Andre and his team made the decision to cut back on anything that wasn't essential. That meant fewer interviews, fewer press events, and fewer public appearances. He explained that when his schedule gets too full, one of the balance organs in his body starts to misbehave, causing dizziness and making it impossible for him to perform. This issue had been affecting him for nearly 20 years and still hasn't gone away, but he's learned to manage it by protecting his time and preserving his energy. Andre hopes to continue doing what he loves for as long as possible, but at a slower pace with more thought and care. He wants to focus only on the things that truly matter to him. Andre had once openly discussed how stress could seriously affect his health, a lesson he learned the hard way after suffering from a painful inner ear infection caused by overworking. That frightening experience forced him to take a step back and reconsider what was most important. After that, he promised to focus only on his music, the thing he loved most. For a time, it seemed like he was living up to that promise. He slowed down, took better care of himself, and seemed more relaxed as he continued to perform. But even with the best intentions, life sometimes brings back old fears. Something happened recently that reminded people of the past. Almost 10 years ago, in 2016, Andre had suddenly canceled several tour dates. Many of his fans were deeply worried, and rumors quickly spread that he might be seriously ill again. It felt like history was repeating itself. Eventually, the truth came out. Andre hadn't canceled the shows because of his own health, but because a member of his beloved orchestra had passed away. The emotional pain of losing someone so close had been too heavy, and Andre had needed time to grieve in private. Even though the rumors were false, they left a lasting impact. Fans had felt scared and helpless, unsure of what was really going on. Now, something similar had happened again. The news broke that Andre's highly anticipated concert at the Motorpoint Arena in Nottingham, United Kingdom, had been postponed. The show had sold out, and fans were eagerly waiting for it. But then tragedy struck. One of the musicians from the Johann Strauss Orchestra had suffered a heart attack early in the morning. The sudden emergency shocked everyone. According to a statement from Rieu's team, he was devastated by what had happened and simply couldn't go on with the performance. The orchestra member is now in the hospital and is still in critical condition. Fans have been asked to be patient and show compassion during this difficult time. A new date for the concert will be announced once things settle down. Although the cancellation wasn't due to Andre's own health, some fans couldn't help but worry again. His past experiences made people fear that the stress of the moment might affect him. After facing so many emotional and physical challenges over the years, André Rieu has come to a powerful conclusion. He now realizes that life is too short to be constantly rushing, and he is choosing to slow down, protect his peace, and give more time to the things that are truly important. Legacy and honors matter, and from his castle in Maastricht, Andre once said that he still had too much to live for to spend his days resting on a cruise ship. That kind of lifestyle didn't appeal to him at all. He had no interest in stepping away from the stage, and even when he did take a break, it was short and simple. Each year, he and his family took a quiet 3-day trip to Rome, but aside from that, his calendar was packed with music. Retirement had never been part of the plan. He had no desire to stop, as his mind was still full of ideas. He even joked that he was only halfway through life, planning to live to 140 years. Even now, he was already thinking about future tours, constantly looking for ways to make each show better than the last. But reality had caught up with him. He had to slow down. His energy wasn't endless. After concerts, Andre struggled to sleep, and the lack of rest began to take a toll on his health. But his love for music pushed him forward. During the COVID-19 lockdown, things became really tough. He described that period as pure torture. Without music and performing, life felt empty. To pass the time, he found a new hobby: baking. What started as a simple distraction quickly became something he enjoyed. Late at night, unable to sleep, he would watch baking videos on his iPhone, learning new recipes and techniques. Soon, His kitchen creations began showing up on social media, and people loved seeing this new side of him. Eventually, his baking even earned him a guest appearance on the Dutch version of the Great British Bake Off. Fans were amused and delighted, and some even wondered if he might start a second career in the kitchen. But Andre was clear. Music was still his true love. Baking was fun and a pleasant way to unwind, but it could never replace performing. Through all the challenges, André Rieu remained passionate, committed, and full of dreams. No matter how hard things got, he kept going. He knew he couldn't do everything like before, but he would still find ways to share his music with the world, maybe with shorter tours, fewer flights, and more time at home, but always with the same heart and soul that made his music so beloved in the first place. The journey of André Rieu is not just about music and performance. It's also about resilience, learning to slow down, and the courage to face personal battles with quiet determination. André Rieu built something rare in the world of music. He made classical music feel alive again. He didn't just play the violin, he created moments that felt magical. His concerts were more than performances. They were full of joy, color, and energy. People from all ages and all parts of the world came together because of him. He made music feel like something that belonged to everyone, not just to a small group. He didn't act like a distant artist. André picked pieces that truly touched people's hearts. He blended famous classical tunes with music that made people smile, laugh, or even cry. His style was never boring. He would dance, talk, and joke with the audience, making everyone feel like they were part of the show. That connection was his gift. He made everyone feel welcome and loved. He proved that music, when shared with passion and love, never grows old. His work left behind more than just recordings or awards. It left behind feelings and memories that people will carry with them long after the music ends. André Rieu has received many honors throughout his long career. His music has touched hearts all over the world, and many countries have shown their appreciation by awarding him prestigious titles. These honors didn't come easily. They were earned through years of dedication, hard work, and a deep passion for music. Every concert he performed, every stage he stepped on, helped him build a career full of respect and admiration. In 2002, he was named a Knight of the Order of the Netherlands Lion, one of the highest awards in his country, symbolizing how much the Dutch people respected his contributions to music. A few years later, in 2009, the province of Limburg gave him the honorary medal, a local tribute to his worldwide fame. That same year, France honored him as a Knight of the Order of Arts and Letters, a special recognition coming from a country renowned for its rich culture of music and the arts. In 2010, his hometown of Maastricht awarded him the Medal of Honor, a deeply personal recognition that meant a great deal to him. These awards weren't just titles. They were signs of deep respect from places close to his heart. In 2011, Austria awarded him the Grand Decoration of Honor in Gold, a major national prize. Outside Europe in 2013, the Kingdom of Bahrain honored him with the Order of Bahrain First Class, followed by Chile in 2024, which awarded him the Pablo Neruda Order of Artistic and Cultural Merit. Each new honor added another layer to his already impressive legacy. These honors go beyond just symbols. They reflect how André Rieu has connected with people all around the world through his music. He has built bridges across cultures, and each medal and title tells the story of a man whose violin continues to spread joy to every corner of the globe.